All right, it is currently moments after capturing the pattern of conduct. I want you to pay attention to the simultaneity of conduct by the demon possessed. All right, you've got the group stalker, the African American male, a third party malicious actor who lives at the facilitating venue. And this is Kenneth Cummings of 1800-3, again, in custody of minor children. All of this is relevant to the federal prosecution of the people of the state that act with simultaneity to that entity that's stalking using helicopters. You have Precious Bustillos, again, the entity that is aware of the documentation, presence in the specific environment where you have multiple shadows of light, which is not possibly sunlight, the maintenance of a light source. It's speaking to the malice that the entity acts with, the ongoing simultaneity of behavior with the state that's stalking by helicopter. Is speaking to the concerted activity in the specific environment. And these are both, by both, I mean Precious Bustillos and Kenneth Cummings. I want to be clear with regard to their prosecution and their criminal record as group stalkers, posing an impermissible threat, not only because they like to engage in threatening the life of an American citizen and terrorizing and group stalking while in the custody of children that they are also posing that threat with. I want you to pay attention to how seamlessly they engage in the system. Just walking and driving on the property, and terrorism is underway in concert with that entity that's stalking in the specific environment with helicopters. I also want you to pay attention to the level of malice while this entity that is stalking by helicopters in the specific environment, a like tremendously outrageous method of stalking someone, let alone group stalking someone in concert with the people. You have what is already an unfathomable crime. They are listening to my speaking to a policy, which remains group stalking, engaging in the criminal elements with police is federal prison. Posing an impermissible threat, that is, the documentation has begun. The monitoring entity knows that when you start documenting, and the public entity will bow down, excuse me, not bow down, but they will back down. The entity is not backing down. You're seeing what is the evidence of an impermissible threat. Threatening your life, that's the stalker telling you, I don't care that you're documenting. I don't care that you're going to go to the courthouse and try to get a restraining order because I keep hiding in your bushes and taking pictures of you and following you around everywhere you go. I'm going to stalk you at the court. That's what the entity is doing when they're posing an impermissible threat. They're monitoring your documentation. And I also want you to pay attention to the level of malice. The entity acts via another state actor that is group stalking in a helicopter, equally and profoundly terrorizing and very demented. The same exact elements, though, and the same exact state actor, just doing it outside of the Los Angeles Police Department. It is still grounds of federal prison. I want you to pay attention to that because that's a deliberate act by the entity. Doing it with law enforcement is the highest threat. Stalking somebody in a helicopter is a high threat, but I want you to pay attention to all of that. The elements remain present, though. The simultaneity of behavior, the people of the state are living at the crime scene and they are fully exposed in addition to their outward demonstration of demonic possession. Somebody that's in, again, of that condition, as Precious Bustillos just demonstrated, and while she is doing so, engaging in not only a crime, but the outward, evidence of her demented character. What's wrong with her mentally, while she terrorizes another, engages in perpetrating a crime while the entity remains aware of the fact, where you have multiple shadows and light flashing while you're talking about the demon possessed that are monitoring you. Pay attention to the video that I captured 48 hours ago. That's the people of the state that engage in that, in concert with that entity that's stalking by a helicopter. That's why Precious Bustillo is going to lose custody of her children as I continue to document the way that she exposes them to danger at the crime scene, monitoring and group stalking and terrorizing an American citizen, by the way, who may not be as composed as I am. All right. They're presenting a danger to those children. Having them in this demonic environment is also harmful, and also engaging in terrorism while you're holding the hand of a child, engaging in perpetrating a crime with a child in concert with the government. You're stalking and terrorizing. I just want you to break that down, what they're doing. That simultaneity of behavior is not an ongoing coincidence. That is establishing the conspiracy that exists between the people of the state and the state. But it is also the people themselves that demonstrate that same outward invisible impression of demon possession. All right, group stalking is demonic behavior. Okay, group stalking is a crime, but it is demonic behavior. So the demon possessed are showing the world their condition as they engage in the criminal elements of monitoring. That's how that works, okay? And you are remembering the venue that they're at when you see the entity stalking in the specific environment. You're a stalker. You're targeting someone. So you are outwardly stalking in a helicopter. You are outwardly stalking in the presence of a child. You are outwardly stalking while you live at the crime scene, which you thought beforehand was never going to be exposed. All of this is relevant to the threat that is posed to a minor child that is engaged and used as a participant in this crime, which is the terrorism of another. highly demented in and of itself, but utilizing children to do so. Yes, she's losing custody of those children. And this is ongoing evidence that's going to be used against her and the people of the state that do the same, including Kenneth Cummings. Okay, living at the crime scene and showing what is ongoing impunity in the same way. The state is showing impunity. The people of the state demonstrate impunity. And like I said, there was a whole body of evidence also that already exists with regard to the prosecution of the people. Group stalking is the outward demonstration of demon possession, and that's why the people of the state engage in what is stalking with light. Impossible light activity coexists with their crossing a path in vehicles, sitting stationary next to you, and light manifesting out of nowhere, just like you see in my apartment, just like you see in my office, just like you see on the sidewalk at this property, where a psychopath is thinking that they can walk by you, while also the phenomena of a helicopter flying over your head. Right? And they do that while holding the hands of children. Absolutely, you're going to remove the children. Absolutely, you will not have Section 8 benefits anymore. You're a criminal. That's going on your record. And it's also going to be provided as notice to anywhere else that a group stalker wants to live, based on the displayed mental instability while you want to engage in what is terrorism and tormenting. That's what group stalking is about. And that's the intent. And it's highly malicious, that which was never supposed to be exposed. It's a criminal act practiced by some sort of secret society. And they're engaged in demonic methods of targeting. And they engaged in it right now with the green and blue helicopter. It is nonetheless the state. All right. And the entity does that while they're listening to me create what is a policy specifically for dealing with the group stalkers that are corrupt law enforcement agencies. You are going to federal prison still. Stalking somebody in a helicopter in that terrorizing environment is equally terrorizing and sick and demented. Not only that, you are doing so while the target individual is documenting you. You are doing it in what is already the surrounding environment, which is a phenomenon. So it's no mystery what you're doing. And in addition to the fact that this is well documented within a pattern of conduct, the state is practicing satanic behaviors, serving a criminal purpose, and the people of the state are practicing satanic behaviors, and it is in concert. It is the same exact P.O.C. That evidence that I just captured, let me be clear. The group stalker that's dropping Precious Bastillos off, I read that license plate. They're going to federal prison. All right. The entity is acting with malice. The entity is stalking in a helicopter. That's a threat to your life. Where the law enforcement agencies that are group stalking are engaging in that, they're going to federal prison. They'll be relieved from their duties. The people of the state will go to federal prison. The entity is engaging in, and I just want to make sure I specifically articulate what the entity just did right now. Okay, I just want to make sure, I know you know what they did. The pattern of conduct already said, but I just want to make sure I point out and highlight and underscore the malice and the psychopaths that they are. And it is speaking to their own demise. Precious Bastillos and Kenneth Cummings know that they've been documented already. And this is because an entity is demon possessed in the same way that they know what I'm doing inside of a room when I'm by myself and they're stalking with audible activity. In the same way that they know exactly who I am when I am in my private space, and there is no way that any sunlight would appear in the middle of the hallway creating multiple shadows. This is a demonic entity that is monitoring everything that you're doing, and they engage in what is targeting someone in ways that were never thought that could be, never anticipated to be capable of being proven in a court of law. All right, this is what the entity thought beforehand. And so actually what they never anticipated is happening. And what the stalker does as a result is continuously engaging in it. While I have shown you what is evidence of that group stalker following and pursuing obsessively in helicopters day and night, LAPD or any other state actor, what the entity just demonstrated is, like I already told you, and like the evidence already suggests, the Los Angeles Police Department is just one state actor. The entity is engaging in the pattern of conduct through many of the state agencies, the Los Angeles Fire Department. The entity is, whoever is stalking in a helicopter, which the ordinary target individual does not have the burden of trying to establish that, you're establishing the venue. Where you know what I'm referencing the federal government when I'm saying you know what the venue is now. So where you're practicing being present routinely, in other words, you're stalking in the environment, and the state is routinely engaging in this using helicopters for the purpose of terrorizing and tormenting one that they're targeting, and they're doing it with the people. That simultaneity of presence and crossing path was demonic pacing. The entity was pacing over my head. This is patrolling that conduct. Crossing over my head with a helicopter, crossing path, Bastillos and a child walking on the sidewalk, crossing path, Kenneth Cummings in a vehicle, and crossing path, that vehicle that dropped Precious Bastillos off. They're going off in all directions. That was highly demonic, what you mentioned, what you witnessed on video. Okay? That's the demon that wants to do this. They want to cross paths with, this is what a psychopath wants to do. Pay attention to the impossible light activity that's on the desk. The entity wants to do this in front of you, and it's rising up on the wall. This is impossible light activity. The blinds are closed. They're in that direction. And it's just manifesting out of the blue. Okay, the demon possessed engaged in an outward demonstration of their condition of, never mind the desk, I'm wiping it off because it's dirty, so that's why it's wet. Anyway, the entity is engaging in the outward demonstration of demon possession and high malice, okay, while they are engaging in the same exact pattern of conduct and demonstrating and posing that same unlawful threat. That's exactly why Precious Bastillos and Kenneth Cummings and that third party driving the dark plum colored SUV, they're going to federal prison. All right. A state actor wants to stalk in a helicopter. That entity is not going to remain a mystery either. But the people of the state are definitely not. They're going to federal prison, period. Period. But I just want to make sure I point that out to you because that's exactly what was exhibited right now. And it is in the specific environment where the entity is rising and setting a light source, where the entity is keeping impossible light activity in the venue. The blinds are closed, but you already see this inside of my apartment. You've already seen what is in the shade just manifesting on the wall, just light out of nowhere, exactly like you saw inside of my apartment. And when I pointed out to you 48 hours ago in my bedroom, where the entity, again, over 9 hours from now, where it's on this side, it's on the opposite side of my apartment, 9 hours, and this video, 48 hours, that was taken 48 hours ago. As soon as I am referencing the fact that they are demon possessed, they are engaging in the ongoing outward demonstration of it while they are perpetrating a crime against someone who has the ability and will expose them and prosecute them. This is what the entity just cannot cope with. But while they are incapable of coping with it, they are racking up an unprecedented prosecution in the same way that they are engaging in an unprecedented crime and showing the demented methods whereby they engage in it, okay? So when you saw the flashing of light on my wall, I live on the 3rd floor inside of building 1806, and who was in relevant position? The people of the state were all in relevant position. The sun that's above the building that would never occur under any circumstances. You reference that documentation, and then you look at that tape again of what are demons walking and driving in all directions and flying over my head at the same time in that specific environment, with knowledge of the policy that has been created surrounding corrupt law enforcement agencies like the Los Angeles Police Department, and also the state that, as I've already stated, acting via state actors. Anywhere that I go, this light source remains over me. It's not going to remain over in alignment to my office, and then when I'm in my apartment, in alignment to my apartment, and then over Alvarado Gardens setting in the evening. No. That's how I was ever able to capture it over my head in front of the door of apartment 51 in Ontario, California. That's how you capture that, because this is not over the door directly in its zenith above door 51 inside of Woodside Senior Apartments. No, it's not. And this light that's occurring inside is speaking to what its present is right here. It's hovering. This is the pattern of conduct of stalking with light, while those that are indeed demonstrating demon possession. So that demon going by the name of Precious Bastillos has again shown that she is a threat to the child that she's in custody in, while she's perpetrating an unprecedented crime against another American citizen in concert with the entity having every intention to engage in terrorizing and tormenting them. That's a psychopath in the specific environment. Okay? And it's not just the prosecution of Precious and Kenneth and the third party in the vehicle and the state that's stalking in a helicopter. Everybody that lives in relevant position, many of whose addresses are posted on my Google Drive, they will be added to the they will be added to what is going to be a database for group stalking, because that's what the zone of relevant positioning is engaged in. That's exactly what they're all doing. That's why the entity keeps a light source all day long. That's why engineered light stays over the grounds all day long. That's why group stalkers cross paths with the simultaneity of this impossible engineered light. It's massive monitoring over here. And they all live in relevant position. They all engaged in this crime together, while you saw Kenneth and Precious and the other third party driving around in close proximity. This is a crime that's perpetrated by the people of the state. They're all group stalking together. And what I also want to make sure that I am translating for you, because it's going to go towards what is malice and the federal policy that you create. I am dealing with the fury, with the hostility of all of that entity that I'm exposing. So in other words, all the people of the state that live in this direction, I put all their addresses on Google Drive, and that's just to sample them. The entity is furious about that. I could care less. If you can't tell by now, I could care less. Okay. It's my duty, and as a matter of justice, for those that the entity is targeting, an entity anywhere, any state that's targeting an American citizen that I know, I can fathom in my mind, does not have the ability to articulate or understand what they're subject to. And it is designed by virtue of the demented behavioral pattern to make that targeted individual appear as though they are suffering from some mental incapacity. That is the sick design, the malicious design of the pattern of conduct, of the P.O.C., as I refer to it. Okay, all of this is going toward how long Precious Bastillo, Kenneth Cummings, and the third party in the vehicle are going to federal prison. That is speaking to malice of the people of the state. And that's the true condition. That's the true character of all of them that are group stalking in this neighborhood. This is the demon possessed, and they're targeting an American citizen, and they did it to the wrong one, because I'm going to expose and prosecute them. That's the reality of what you just witnessed. It's currently 8:33 a.m., and this is POC.